Stay tuned for the biggest fish, the hottest bites, this week here on In-Depth Outdoors. With James Holst.
Look at that. Wow, is that an incredible fish?
And the rest of the Idaho fishing team. We're headed to the best fisheries across the upper Midwest and Canada. We'll fish longer, explore unfished bodies of water, and go further off the beaten path in search of the hottest bites in fresh water.
Look at that.
With Cal Schwiel.
What a specimen.
And Joel Nilsson.
Whoa, this is an absolute monster.
This is In-Depth Outdoors.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I think we've got a pretty special show for you here today. It seems like once a winter, we take a destination trip. Some would call that a bucket list trip. And what that means is it's one of those destinations that you kind of daydream about. You might hear about a great bite for big fish in a fantastic destination. And it's one that you kind of plan for. Might take several years to actually make that trip happen. And that's what we've got going on today. In years past, we've gone to Lake Winnipeg for gigantic walleyes. Last winter, we went to Kansas for big white crappie. And on today's show, we're actually in Idaho, and we're gonna fish gigantic yellow perch. Not perch shaped like footballs, but perch actually as big as footballs. And now, in my opinion, the fishing is really only half the story. We're out here in the Rocky Mountains. The scenery is beautiful. We've got a sunrise coming up in the distance. Last night as we drove into Cascade Lake where we're fishing today, we got to experience everything that the Rocky Mountains has to offer as far as weather is concerned. Every time we'd change 1,000 foot or so in elevation, the precipitation would change. We started out with some heavy rain and finally finished up as we got towards the top of the mountains with some pretty heavy snowfall. And all along the way, the scenery was absolutely spectacular. So we're going to be fishing with Andy Fiolka today. He's actually familiar with this body of water. He worked out here in Idaho for a few years before moving back to South Dakota. Now, really, the best way to sum this up is this bite and this trip is all about, where do guys that live in the heart of perch country in South Dakota go to fish perch on their vacation? That's what this show's all about.
Go. First fish of my Idaho trip for this year. That's not the one we're looking for, but get him here. Not a bad fish though, but definitely not what we came out here for. This fish is probably 11 and a half, 12 incher, and we're gonna catch a lot bigger today. And hoping that we get a little bit of overcast. These lakes out here tend to be very clear. Stream water feeds these reservoirs, so you can imagine gin clear water. And the bright sun does hamper the bite, so we are ideally hoping for cloudy conditions today, but since we are not gonna get that, it looks like we are gonna luck out, and the fog rolling in, so that should help dampen the bright, brilliant sunlight in the clear water, which usually helps the bite. So hopefully here in the next few minutes, that fog continues to make it up, and the bite will get even better. So that's what we're hoping for. Let this one go. Thank you. There she goes. Hey James, first fish of the Idaho trip. What do you think?
Well, I think I'm gonna throw down some iFish Pros is what I think.
I think that could only help us kind of follow these schools around. When we see those go off, we kind of know that's where the school's at that moment.
I'll put one out in about 20, one in 15, and one in 10, and we'll see what works.
Sounds like a plan. Kind of go up that break and see where the fish are at.
Absolutely.
All right.
So here in Idaho, every angler can run 5 lines, and of course, we're going to jig 1 rod for sure each. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw out 3, 4 iFish Pros, and what they do is allow you to fish a rod and reel like this. This is a tuned-up custom precision noodle, and actually combine it with a tip-up of sorts. So I'm going to set that up, and we're going to have 3, 4 of them. We're going to kind of march down the break here. We're going to start up shallow and end out in about 20 foot of water. And what's interesting about this lake is you can't fish minnows here, and ideally that's what we'd like to fish, a small fathead minnow or a shiner. under these iFish Pros, it'd probably be pretty deadly. But we think we can still get some fish just by putting down some small jigs and tipping that jig with just a real wad of Euro larva. 5-6 Euro larva on each jig should really do the trick. So we'll set that up about a foot and a half above bottom. And anytime these perch come moving through in groups, we're hoping that we'll get our fish on the jigging rods, but then we could add in some bonus fish on these iFish Pros as well. So setting one of these things up is really pretty easy. We've got a bobber stop on the line that will hold that bait about a foot and a half above the bottom. And there's a trigger on this system that holds the flag down. And when a fish grabs that jig, suspended a foot and a half off the bottom, it pulls down on the line, the trigger releases the flag, and hopefully Andy and I run over in time to reel up the fish.
The new ultralight rip and wrap offers a smaller profile and slower, more seductive action on the fall than any other rattle bait on the market today. The number 4 ultralight rip and wrap is irresistible to big perch and slab crappie, yet it fishes big enough to tempt trophy caliber predators during a cold front or anytime walleye, pike, or lake trout key in on smaller profile baits. This winter, when you hit the ice looking for your next lunker, think big. Go small with Rapala's new ultralight rip and wrap.
Got it. Feels like a good one. I don't have any perspective yet. It's a perch. Holy smokes! You got a mouthful of rip and wrap there. It's an 8-inch hole and it basically fills it up. Come here. Look at that!
That is a dandy.
Where does that rank?
I suppose that one would be a good one, but not a giant. We'll get bigger.
That hurts a little, but not a lot really when you consider how big this thing actually is.
Well, here's a 11-incher for perspective.
Unbelievable. That's why we made the drive. That is just a freak super tanker of a perch. And this man walks over and says it's not really that big for the area, obviously. That's a bigger perch than I would catch anywhere in the Midwest this winter. So mission accomplished. Can we go home?
Man.
Pop that rip and wrap out of there. You said anything perchy would work, and you were not kidding.
They like to eat themselves.
Out of there. Well, I do expect to keep a meal of perch today, but he's a little bit on the big side for my taste. I'm gonna let that one go. That is a really cool fish. See you later. Unbelievable.
Here comes a fish. Oh.
The patented Fielka hand
Feels
switch.
pretty darn good. Nice head shake. Oh yeah. Just hit that rip and wrap. We'll get some bigger ones yet, I hope, but we'll take these all day long.
Boy, you did not overpromise, my friend.
Yeah,
if that is, I mean, you're
the
hardly
big
even
fat
excited
belly.
there.
I know at that. Well, we're still waiting for one of those big ones. Still a darn nice fish.
Beautiful.
Probably.
What'd you say, 14-ish?
Yeah, 14 and a half somewhere. Probably that pound and 3/4 size. Really nice fish.
I can't wait to see one that gets you excited.
Oh, I'm waiting. Let her go. Wow, that was a nice fish. Try to get down and get some more.
You know, Andy, I've never mounted a fish, but if I get one 16 inches, I might have to think about it. They're so cool.
Yeah, you know, that's definitely the fish of a lifetime for most people, and there's a good chance we catch multiple fish like that, so.
Another one. Oh, this is too much fun. Andy says this isn't a numbers bite so much as it is a trophy hunt, but oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. God, he's got the front hook in his mouth. He's got the back hook in the underneath his chin. Look at that. Not as big as that first one, but a really nice perch. This would be kind of the top end for perch where we normally fish. That's probably about 13 and a half, maybe 14 inches, but dwarfed by that first one. Beautiful fish. Still a little big for what I want to keep. So I'll let him go. Beautiful, beautiful perch. What a start to the day. All right, back you go. Wow, what a start, what a deal. You drive all this way, you've got expectations like this big, and the first two fish already. Guy feels like it wasn't a wasted trip by any means. Good start, very good start.
New for 2015, the release of the WX 1910 from Skeeter Boats redefines the features and performance anglers can expect from a 19-foot boat, including the torque transfer system, making the hull on the WX 1910 the strongest ever built, the React keel, enabling unparalleled boat control in tough conditions, and integrated jump seats for the ultimate in seating flexibility. Visit your local Skeeter Boats dealer and see for yourself why no other 19-foot boat offers more advanced features, storage, and performance than the WX 1910.
Oh, there he is. This is a good one. Big head shakes. They're like yellow walleyes with bars, man. They hit it so hard. Oh my God! It's just huge. He's got that rip and wrap so much in the corner there. Look at that. Just a giant. I don't know how to process this place. I mean, the perch act like walleyes as far as how they hang on structure. We'll talk about that in a little bit. The fish are just huge. I mean, look at that thing. It's like a peacock bass caught through the ice. Just a beautiful fish. I mean, perch is a great fish. Nothing bad to be said about them. They hit like crazy. They're always aggressive, it seems. They're beautiful. I mean, look at the color on these fins. Beautiful orange fins. Such a cool fish. I'll let him go. All right, very cool. And really, what I love about this kind of trip, we seem to do one about every year here at In-Depth Outdoors. Lake Winnipeg for walleyes. We'll go down to Kansas for crappies this year. We wanted to come out and experience these giant perch out here in Idaho. And it's a bucket list trip is what it comes down to. You hear about these trophy caliber bites, and you end up out here in Idaho catching perch bigger than anything you've ever seen before. So I'm loving every bit about this. And the iFish Pro's got a fish on it. We're just starting to get these set up. I mean, obviously we've got some brutes running around in the area. That's not a great big fish. We just wanted to get some extra rods out. Let him go. Here in Idaho, you can run 5 lines apiece. Where we're from, we can only run 2. We don't carry that much gear, but we wanted to get a couple more lines out and see if we couldn't cover more of this break. So I threw out a couple iFish Pros, and nothing more complicated than a tungsten tubby jig, 3 Euro larvae, and just suspend that bait about a foot off the bottom. And we're using the iFish Pros because, you know, catching perch on tip-ups, that's not that much fun. So we wanted to incorporate the rod. So that's what we got going on, and it obviously works. We didn't even get the second one out. You know, we've got the second iFish Pro just sitting next to this hole that we haven't had a chance to deploy it yet.
Got one coming here. Feels like a pretty good one. Oh yeah. Your fingers away from that rip and wrap. I guess I was grabbing like that. I don't know, James, maybe another 14-incher here.
See, but you got to stop talking down about 14 inches. That's a giant.
I'm just really hoping to get a big one, but I'll take these all day. Typically back home, we'd be fishing a mud basin where these fish are either chasing bloodworms or scuds, freshwater shrimp around, and you know, we're not fishing that way here. We're fishing typical walleye structure, breaks, humps, points, basically anything where it gives them, they can chase the little perch minnows up and down the break during the day, and that's how we're fishing them.
Well,
and,
for all intents and purposes, that fish here fills the niche that a walleye does back home.
Absolutely, these are the top predator out here, and I mean, you can see why.
Don't say that in front of the guys that like the trout.
They might get upset. I think this is another one of those that we'd rather see go back and spawn some eggs, so she gets a free pass. Oh, there she goes. Try and find some more.
There he is. He's looking like a pretty decent one. Of course, it's not like we're catching a lot of small fish either. The water clarity here is so good that we're kind of concerned that midday we'll see a slow down in the bite. You know, clear water like this, high bluebird skies, does not typically make for a really good perch bite. It feels like a good perch. Oh yeah, I can see him down there. Oh, look at that. That's all right. That's just your 13 and 13 and a half inch perch. We catch those back home. And I've got very bad news for him. One of the things I love about perch fishing happens to do with perch eating. They are terrific fish for the table. And this one's gonna make a fantastic eater. Man, they just woof these rip and wraps. You know, one of the things we're used to doing at home, lakes that produce really big perch typically have a shrimp forage base. You get out in the Dakotas, North Dakota, South Dakota, and those fish can be pretty darn picky. Basically, they've got food swimming around them at all times. And here on this lake, the perch feed on minnows, other perch. So what we're seeing is when you get one of these babies come on the Markham, the LX9, it pretty much fires up and swats the bait right away. My guess is they don't get a lot of opportunities to eat a 2-inch long perch minnow, and when they do, they take it. But that's a beautiful fish. Nice. That one's going home to Minnesota.
Craftsmanship and precision are just words until you add driving passion and a knowledge of what defines rod building excellence. Tuned up custom rods are built with a perfect blend of rod balance and action. A truly custom experience achieved only with the highest quality materials, from the handle to the last guide and every thread wrap in between. It's these components, along with an attention to detail, that makes our custom ice rods a tuned up custom.
Andy, there's one. He's there, he's going like heck.
Let's see what we got here.
Get out of your way. Yeah, just reel down on him, give him the beans. He's there. Yep. Just that easy.
You know it's good when they bend a noodle like that.
A little bit more fun than hauling him in hand over hand on the, oh, there he is, awesome.
He's another nice fish.
I'm gonna get our clip. Awesome.
That is another, just a donkey. I mean, I can't even count how many of these we've caught here today.
Don't try.
Wow. Tongues and tubby jig packed with a bunch of Euro larvae. Just kind of covers some different depths here, and it's, well, the results show.
They're not moving, they're not doing anything. That fish is just coming by going, I'll eat that.
And he did, and that is just another hog.
Not missing any meals.
Nope, he has not. Well, let's put this one back and
Say
let her
goodbye,
do her
Perch.
thing and keep the giant perch going.
He's ready to go.
There
You want
she
to hand me
goes.
the rod, I'll pack it back up and throw it back
Perfect.
down.
That's easy enough for me.
Very easy. And like I said, a lot more fun than hand over hand with the tip-up gear.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Fog's gone, fish didn't go anywhere. Andy was saying he was really concerned about getting these bluebird skies to come in, and the fish, they've slowed down a little bit, but it's still really good. Holy smokes, another nice fish. Not one of those super giant tankers, but really, really nice. Probably about 13 and a half, pushing 14 inches. It's just crazy when you think about saying that a fish of this size is not a big one for the day. And they just keep coming through in waves. We're sitting up here in about 13, 14 foot, and where we've been catching most of the fish is out in that 18, 19 foot range. And we do have holes out to about 24, 25 feet. So it's just a nice gradual sand break here. There's just some silt on the bottom too, but just classic perch stuff. Got the rip and wrap going on. They come through in schools. You can sit, not have anything happen for 15, 20 minutes. All of a sudden 2 or 3 fish will get caught just real quick, and those fish will move on. That is a great fish. We've got a pretty good start to a great batch of fish. The talk here between Andy and I has been about a fish fry later tonight. Nothing beats fresh fish, and you make it a fresh perch fry, and so much the better. But we've got enough, or at least we've got a good start. This one's a little big, so we'll let him go. All right, see you later, Perch. I'm just completely digging the size of the fish here today. Who wouldn't? But I think what's making it even that much better is these big fish live in a beautiful place. Now, when we set up this trip, Andy was mentioning that just about every day kind of is the same with regards to weather. You get that heavy, intense fog in the morning, which was great because it kind of extended that peak bite period. Sun comes out, burns the fog off. And he said there was almost no wind. Unless you have a storm front coming through with precipitation, he said the wind doesn't blow here. So 3 to 5 mile an hour winds, that's great, sun over our shoulder. And of course at this elevation, it's only about 18, 20 degrees right now, but it feels like it's about 50 degrees with that sun beating down on my back. It's hard to explain just the difference. You add a few thousand feet in elevation and how much more intense that sun feels. So fantastic fishing, but really the cherry on top is what's going on off there on the horizon. It is a wonderful place to fish.
Oh, yeah.
I love it when you set the hook and the rod basically stops.
Good head shake on this guy. Oh my. Get that transducer cable out of the way.
Oh, that is the biggest perch I have ever seen, Andy, without question, bar none. Is that your 2-pounder you were looking for?
I believe that is a 2-pound fish, I would imagine. So he just absolutely annihilated the rip and wrap. The bite hasn't slowed.
Well, you can see it's got the whole front hook engulfed. This rear hook just kind of swung around and got him after the fact, I think. But
He's got it in both lips.
That fish was going nowhere. We got the sun out now. I know the fish aren't supposed to bite when the sun's out like this, but he didn't get the memo. What's nice is we're fishing in such shallow water. I mean, they come up, they are just
Look
full
at
of
that
vinegar.
fish. That's a 2-pound fish.
At the start of the show, when we said we drove to Idaho for perch, I'm sure a lot of people did the head slap. Why would they do that? That's why. I gotta get me one of those.
Oh man, I want to get another one too. Let this guy go. Thank you. There she goes. Cascade Lake, where we're at today, has a very interesting history. The lake hasn't always produced giant perch like what we're enjoying today. It had kind of a dark period in the early to mid 2000s where a combination of an algae bloom mixed with an overpopulation of northern pike minnows knocked the perch population down to almost non-existence. So in an effort to combat that, what the state did is they came in and they killed off the fish in the lake through the use of rotenone, which is a fish-killing chemical. Well, through a cooperative effort with the state of Oregon, they were able to net a bunch of stunted perch from a reservoir over there, approximately 100,000, and they planted those into Cascade Lake. And those 100,000 perch, original perch, are the parents of the giants that we're catching today. Got him. It's like a pretty good one. Oh yeah. I'm stealing those treble hooks. Oh yeah.
That's a nice one, Andy.
Just another one to add to the notch on the belt today.
That's actually small compared to some of the ones you've caught today. Some that we've caught today.
Absolutely. It's been an incredible day of perch fishing. Probably one that perch fishermen would lose sleep over, possibly.
I know I will. Actually, what you've done is you've effectively ruined me for perch fishing anywhere else in the country. Thank you very much.
Well, you can come back.
I actually hope to. I mean, I don't know what else we can share about this bite. The closest town is McCall. We stayed at Tamarack Resort, which was great because you had easy access right to the lake with the snowmobiles. There's not a lot of places where you can just roll right off from your cabin and hit the lake, so that was pretty nice. And they also offer skiing, so if there's anybody in the parental unit that doesn't like to fish, Dad can still get out there on the ice. So probably a pretty good place for people to consider if they're going to come out here and do some fishing.
Very nice place, nice cabins, good food. It's all right there.
I don't need to catch any more perch. I think we've carried the point. This lake has gigantic perch.
They speak for themselves. Words can't describe.
Well, who knows how much longer this bite's gonna last. I mean, this is a fairly new phenomenon here on this lake, but definitely Cascade Lake earns its place right there with the other trophy perch destinations across the country.
For sure. It's incredible. That's the adjective that pops to mind, I guess. It's just unreal and incredible.
Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. Loved fishing with you. And from Andy Fiolka and I, thanks for watching. We'll see everybody next week.
For more info on the latest fish reports, gear recommendations, and hottest techniques, connect with us online at indepthoutdoors.com or follow us on Facebook at In Depth Outdoors. And if you enjoyed today's show, be sure to let our sponsors know.